Hello and welcome to the Print Dashboard. These are two of the car manufacturers which make some of the most fascinating vehicles in India. And when it comes to their sturdiness, Indians vouch for it. When it comes to sales numbers, things somehow just don't add up. Yes, we are talking about VW and Skoda. But what's exactly happening at the brand? To know that, we're joined by the Prince Auto expert, Kushan Mitra. Welcome, Kushan. Welcome to the dashboard. Uh,
Good to see you back in the studio after so long.
same here. Thank you. So, Kushan, what's happening with Skoda? What's happening with VW? What are these? A lot of these. I should tell our viewers that a lot of these exit rumors, so-called, they've surfaced on social media mostly. So we somehow need to know where they came from and what was the immediate context to it. Why?
One reason is combined sales, as you rightly said, every month for Škoda and Volkswagen. Now they are one sales company. It's called Škoda Auto Volkswagen India Private Limited. It's a mouthful. SAVWIPL. That's the official name. That also includes Audi and Lamborghini and Porsche. They have combined sales every month of under 4,000 to 5,000 units. Now keep in mind the cars they compete against, products like the Creta, which goes up against the Taygun and the Kushaq. These are cars that the Creta alone is in the top 10 of sales. The Creta is selling almost 10,000 units a month. The Venue is selling 10,000. I mean, the Sonnet is selling. So it's been that they've never gotten anywhere. They don't have the sales numbers as against their rivals. So that's why these rumors of exiting have come about, particularly because the market has, I've been writing in some of my columns and in other videos also recently, it's become a bit weak right now.
Right.
After COVID, there was of course a sales jump, I mean double digit growth. But for the first quarter of this financial year, growth has come down to 3%. I
Right.
mean, these are numbers released by the Society of Indian Automotive Manufacturers. So whenever growth becomes weak, rumors of companies, particularly companies that are not doing all that well, start circulating. Um, so that's, I think, the basis of the rumors. Now, Skoda and Volkswagen have gone to great lengths to try and address these rumors.
Right.
Skoda just took a bunch of people to Prague to show them their new B SUV that's going to go up against the likes of the Sonnet, the Venue, and the Brezza and the Nexon. There is talk of updates to the Volkswagen line as well. But I mean, is it too little too late? It's a question that obviously
Right.
people are asking on social
Right.
media.
Kushan, I would want you to take our viewers a little, back when sort of still early days for the brand in India. Skoda entered 2001, and sometime around 2007 is when VW entered the Indian market. Right now, you say because of the overall scenario of the market, which is sort of softening, as you have clearly mentioned in some of our columns at the print, and these car makers being somewhere at the bottom of the sales spectrum, they are feeling the heat even more than the other players. But they have always been uh, soft when it comes to sales. And it's
True.
not like they are new in India. Skoda is more than 20 years now. Volkswagen
Yeah.
nearing 20 years now, 2 decades. How is it that they have not been able to understand the demands of the Indian market like the Koreans have?
That is what surprises me. I think it's to do. Firstly, when Skoda came to India in 2001, they came in with the Octavia that did very well back then. It was a premium product. The market was very different 20 years ago. But they didn't get into the mass market because they said we could never price a product for the mass market. They did come with the Fabia hatch
Right.
eventually. If you remember,
Right.
the Fabia hatch and the Polo hatch
Right.
was sold. But even those cars, which were in an in demand segment, in the hatchback segment, they could never crack the market the way the Koreans and the Japanese and even Tata and
Right.
Mahindra, for that matter, right
Absolutely.
now have
Absolutely.
managed. And I think that's because it's what is strange is Volkswagen is so successful in China, has been. I mean, right now they're suffering, but they made products that the Chinese market liked, and I was surprised they couldn't take lessons from the Chinese market into India, because Indian consumers, for better or for worse, are very similar to Chinese consumers. We want tech in our cars.
Right.
Chinese consumers love panoramic sunroof. Indian consumers love panoramic sunroofs. We love having large infotainment screen, digital displays, great audio systems. We want tech in our cars, and the likes of Kia, even Tata Motors now with the new Curve, you're hearing they're going to give ventilated seats, big infotainment systems, big digital clusters, ADAS. I think they never managed to put that into their cars. One reason is that's why Skoda Auto's chairman recently said that he's looking to tie up with the Indian brand. Indian manufacturer may not be an automotive manufacturer to try and understand the Indian consumer, but these are not. It's not a state secret. All of this. It's well
Right.
known.
And as you mentioned, China, if I'm not mistaken, they have a partnership in China with SAIC.
Yes, they do.
And with these new reports for India coming in, the names being thrown up, like with Mahindra or JSW, they are going to get into some sort of partnership. There are reports that say that the Skoda Volkswagen India group, they will get into some sort of a share of loading, maybe 10%, 15%, that kind of partnership. So is it going to be something similar that they have done in China? How do you see it, or is it going to be something else in India? India experiment is going to be
Okay,
different.
in China, as you remember, when car makers went into China, they were forced by the Chinese government to have a joint venture with the Chinese manufacturer. So when General Motors and Volkswagen went, they tied up with Shanghai Automotive and uh, and others. I think Volkswagen has multiple JV partners in China, and of course, the lessons the Chinese car makers derived from that have helped them immensely. Volkswagen and Škoda came into India, as you said. Škoda came into India in 2001, then Volkswagen came in 2007. At that point of time, as I was already covering automotive, but I remember I did stories and read stories by other senior automotive journalists. Should Volkswagen have come in the first place in the mass market? I mean, you should have had just one brand. And
Right.
some people said that Škoda and Volkswagen, by competing in, say, the small hatchback segment, or with the Vento and the Rapid, if you remember
Right.
those
Right.
cars, they were cutting each other off. I mean, they were competing with each other instead of competing with other brands. It's not as if sister brands are not there in the market. I mean, look at Hyundai and Kia. But you can argue Hyundai and Kia also compete with each other. But when you consider the Seltos and the Creta, they are by far and away the largest player in the market.
Right.
If you consider the Venue and the Sonnet, while none of them is number one, together they are way ahead of everybody else.
Right.
So Hyundai Motor Group is way ahead, whereas the Volkswagen Group, I think they, because they come, even though the cars, there are design changes. You can, between the Kushaq and the Taigun, there are differences. Should they have competed is something. Now maybe it's a bit more.
There's more realization in the brand.
Yeah,
I mean, with their India 2.0
yeah.
strategy, some
Now there's
that sort of.
2.5 they're talking about now.
Yeah, I mean, I was just reading there's some new platform that they're going to introduce in India. It's
Yes.
MQB0137, something
Three
like.
seven instead of the earlier one. There's 2.4, so it's going to be slightly longer. One reason being that the Taigun and Kushaq have suffered from is that they're considered to be slightly smaller than the Creta and the Seltos and the Grand Vitara they compete against.
Right.
And slightly, while they're both, I mean, the platform they have right now is a 5-star safety GNCAP platform. They've been tested. The cars are excellent to drive. Some of you might have seen the video I did in Ladakh with Volkswagen, the Volkswagen Virtus, which is fabulous to drive in the mountain roads of Ladakh. They're great cars. Don't get me wrong. They're excellent products. But I think they really need some more motivation in sales. So maybe they need an Indian partner who understands sales better,
Right.
and uh, and also need to invest a bit more in India, because as we are seeing, and when we come to China again, Volkswagen was a top company in China for years on end, but Chinese car makers have caught up.
Right.
I mean, China is now shifting heavily towards new energy vehicles. If you read my column
Right.
last week, where we talk about different types of hybrids, the car makers that I had never heard of, called Li Auto, which is now number three behind BYD,
Right.
which is by far and away one of the largest and fastest growing car makers in the world. And BYD is challenging Volkswagen's hegemony even in Europe,
Right.
despite the 30% duties that the European Union is going to put on Chinese electric cars. Volkswagen is seeing challenges to the hegemony across in Western Europe and China.
Right.
So India, they have to be serious over here.
Right. Kushan, when you say being serious, we have been seeing like even with the India 2.0 strategy, uh, local sourcing has been one way for them to sort of manage costs. And with this new partnership, if it sort of transforms, that would also add up to their capacity and their understanding of the Indian market. But when we are talking of a brand like Volkswagen and Skoda, these are brands which are, in India at least, they are seen quality and their
Yeah, yeah.
sturdiness and everything is something that is very core to their brand. Do you think going forward in their attempt to look at numbers, they will be somewhere losing their core of the brand?
I don't think so. Firstly, with Bharat NCAP coming into force this year, the first tests have come out, mainly all for Tata Motors already. They've all been five-star. The Virtus and the platform they have right now, so the Virtus, the Slavia, the Kushaq, the Taygun, they've all been rated five-star by Global NCAP. Inevitably, they'll be five-star by Bharat NCAP. But I think virtually every car that's going to be sold in India under the Bharat NCAP rules will be five, 4 or 5 stars. So I doubt car makers will be, you know, sturdiness and safety, yes, are a selling point, but it's going to be a selling point for everybody.
Right.
I really like the products. Again, coming back to that, their products are very good. It's not about, but there's certain things they don't have. They don't have, for example, I said, a panoramic sunroof.
Right.
I'm not a fan of sunroofs, as I've written multiple times in my column,
Right.
because hey, we are a hot country. But people like panoramic sunroofs. People like having large infotainment screens. They like large digital displays, um, which cars one segment below them have. I mean, as I said, for the last 2 months I've been driving a Kia Sonet, and it's got a nice big digital display up front, which the Volkswagen cars don't have. And people want things like this. They want having, a electric seat. They want this. I mean, so these are features the Indian consumer wants. Will having an Indian partner help them? I think it will. I do not, as you said, you said it could be JSW, could be Mahindra. I personally think it may be somebody very left field, somebody who's not necessarily into passenger cars right as yet.
Right. And how do you think it's they have, with each stage they have been learning sort of with the India 2.0 strategy also, they sort of, it was pretty clear, I mean sales numbers also reflect that there was some sort of learning at the group. How do you think which are the vehicles that you think upcoming vehicles that are going to sort of pan out for them, that are going to sort of further strengthen their grip or start to strengthen their grip on the Indian market?
One reason is the Indian market, as again we mentioned several times, we've become an SUV dominated market
Right.
right now. Uh, Forget just one out of every two cars. By the end of this year, I'm sure 2 out of every 3 passenger vehicles sold will be the SUV body style. So Škoda definitely is bringing up a car in the B segment, as I've spoken about, probably be called the Kailak.
Right.
Um, Volkswagen may not be bringing up a car, but Volkswagen will be bringing their first electric car into the market, maybe to try and get a sense of that sensibility as well. There will be facelifts to the Taygun and to the Kushaq, which will have a lot of features added on and maybe make the cars more, stand out a bit more in the market, more LEDs, more, brighter, shinier cars. I mean, you look at what Tata and Mahindra do with their cars, put very look at me LEDs,
Right.
daytime running lights and
Right.
all. So features like that. So I think they'll get it right. I think they also do want a partner because a lot of this will be expensive. And as mentioned earlier, they are facing challenges in their home market now. They are
Right.
facing challenges in China now. And they really do have to improve their local sourcing. That's, I think, another reason they want their partner over here, because you want to get your costs down. One thing that we keep on hearing from management, we've heard from in the past also, is European cars are more expensive to produce, period, because they claim they do engineering better than others, but it's they cannot match the costs of, say, Hyundai, Kia, or even, I mean, Tata and Mahindra are selling at the prices they are selling.
Are you referring to the Zelmer's statement where he said their cars are over-engineered for India?
I don't know if they're over engineered for India. I think, I mean, I genuinely believe Japanese and Korean and even Chinese engineering is just as good as European engineering. I think these are, I think what Tata and Mahindra are doing, Indian engineering for that matter, is just as good. They have European design centers. Um, so I don't know they're over engineered or not. Um, but they are, I think they cannot get their costs down. I guess all the East Asians and Indians, we can do our costs better because the engineering development costs are better. Like for every car maker in the world has a software development center in
Right.
India.
Right.
So it's, I mean, all the software is being made out here.
Yeah, and Skoda and Volkswagen are learning, but still a long way to go for them
Yeah.
in the Indian market. Well, that's all from us in this edition of the Print's Dashboard. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Kushan.
Thank you.